Attention all nurses. Are you a nurse seeking new opportunities? Introducing the A&P scholarships and sponsorship for nurses. The requirements are this sponsorship and scholarship program is only for associate degree and bachelor's degree nurses for now. have a minimum of 6 months of work experience, have at least a B2 level of English proficiency, and contact us and participate in our interview process with our executive team.
Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Nelson. I'm the president and CEO of A&P Health Services, Inc. We are a recruiting international nursing firm, and hopefully today we're going to give you some information that it may be helpful for you to understand a little bit of what we're doing and the opportunities that we have here in the United States. I'm going to share with you a little presentation, and we're going to go from there, okay? Alrighty. So just so you guys know, A&P, we're, like I said, we're an agency based in Miami, Florida. It started back in around 2020. Personally, I am a registered nurse. I worked in CVICU, so it's cardiovascular intensive care unit. I was an ECMO nurse before I started doing full-time A&P as the president. So we started as a small consultant firm helping international students come into the United States and teaching them how the process is. The process is something that every single international nurse could do on their own. They don't need to hire anybody. However, it has some complexity to it. So we developed a consulting firm that started growing really fast in Latin America and then Europe, and eventually, spread across the whole globe. And we walked into then the placement firm where we now have contracts with several hospitals across the nation. And we developed this sponsorship and scholarship program to those nurses who qualify with a certain profile, and everything it's going to be more beneficial through the sponsorship scholarship program because we're using A&P's funds. So there are several phases to this program. We describe them as phase 1 and phase 2, and hopefully this document and this little presentation will teach you and show you how kind of it is. And then at the end, I'll be answering some questions about nursing in general, or how the process is, or A&P, or whatever you guys want to know as international nurses who may potentially want to come to the United States. So, we believe that we have built the perfect bridge that is going to connect the world that where you live in today to the United States, and we're going to help you shape your dream and make it become into a reality. I am originally from Venezuela, so I am an immigrant into the United States, and through nursing, I have been able to build what we are today as a company, and I definitely attribute that to the nursing career. I am today the CEO and president, and I was one of the founders of it. And well, now we have a team of 28 people, and it just keeps growing. We're leading the market in the United States, and this is just the beginning. Our dream, it's based on nursing. So the company was started by nurses, and it continues to grow with nursing members. The majority of them are nurses. And your dream becomes our mission. We want to elevate the nursing profession globally. We just don't want to become one corporate America and then, oh yeah, we're a great permanent placement agency, becoming staffing agency. No, we want to really elevate the level of nursing because that's where we came from. We truly believe that nursing in the United States can help you improve your life. So through the services that we offer and the connections that we have and all the opportunities that we can provide so you can access to those better opportunities, we want ultimately to improve your life. One of the philosophies are we want to impact people's life positively, and then the rest of it will follow, including success. So during our process, we take very seriously the guidance throughout it. So we have it in a close and very personalized way throughout the entire journey, throughout all the paperwork that you need to send in order to get fully accredited in the United States. So then eventually take the NCLEX and then the connections in order to talk to the hospitals to then have a formal interview and then have a job offer, eventually go through the immigration process, and then finally land into the United States and work as a nurse that, it may be your dream. Now, one of the benefits of working in the United States, we all know, is the financial stability. Nursing in several other countries, you can make pretty decent money, including Canada. However, in the U.S., just the capitalist system, takes that as a leading benefit. Financial stability is something that nurses here in the U.S. can achieve really quick. There are so many opportunities to make money, especially when you specialize as a certified registered nurse anesthetist or nurse practitioner. When you go to that master or doctorate level, you can make really good money. Unfortunately, in some countries like Latin America, South Asia, Asia in general, Africa, the opportunities are very limited, and the financial stability is not really existent. I mean, they have taken advantage of the profession by, we nurses, we love what we do, and then it's our vocation, and then we're devoted to it. But hey, where's the money? Where's the money to pay my bills? And some countries, are struggling. Some countries like in Latin America, they make about $25 a month. So in the United States, that's not going to happen. The U.S. is driven by money. The economy, it's literally like a free market. So the nurses were always pushing to have a better financial stability. So you can achieve, you can make easily 100K, $100,000 a year just working 3 days a week at a given point. Traveling nursing is very, very famous to be making big bucks. So that's one of the things. The second one is job security. Because of the shortage that we have in the United States, there's always going to be a job. That doesn't mean that it's going to be your ideal dreaming job, but there's always going to be there's always going to be a job as a nurse. And sure, you can have really, really high chances of finding that desired job because there is such a huge shortage as of today. We also think that, one of the benefits is free time. You only work 3 days a week, which is 12-hour shift, which is very similar to Canada. And then the rest of the week you have it off. 3-hour shift is tough still. Sometimes there are some jobs that is better to work 5 days a week and it's less burden on your body. However, though, 3 days a week still allows you to have 4 days off and enjoy family. And that's a luxury that we in North America have. Not many people in other continents really have that luxury of working 3 days a week and then having 4 days off. Professional growth in the United States, it's always growing. We're always now. There are a couple of states I just read the other day that midwives are now independent, and that's where the route is going. So nurse practitioners are independent in certain states, and about 28 CRNAs are also independent in so many states. And now nurse midwifery is starting to become something that it's an independent branch. So it's really cool that the professional growth in nursing, we're always thriving for more. We're really capable. Why couldn't we do that? And why couldn't we just simply help the system to have a better care for our patients? Now, social appreciation is also really high. That I would say that both Canada and the U.S. We have social appreciation, not so much in Latin America, Central America, Europe, or Asia. Here in the United States, we're really appreciated for what we do. You'll see people when you tell them you're a nurse, they'll thank you. Like if you were in the military, they'll say, "Oh wow, thank you very much for what you do," and that feels really nice. And ultimately, the green card. When you're an immigrant and you go to a different country, there's always that barrier of, I got fully credentialed, but I can't work because I don't have the immigration paperwork. We got a couple of people from Canada, and they're in that situation. Sure, they passed the NCLEX. They're the older generation that where NCLEX was not the same, so they had to retake all the credentialing and everything, and they had to retake the new version of the new generation NCLEX. They passed it, but now they're waiting for that immigration process to get the green card directly or the TN visa in the case of Canada. So it's always nice that nursing can give you that pathway to a direct permanent residency, which is the green card. Now, we are offering currently $500,000 in scholarship and in sponsorship. What that means is that all the fees and all the expenses that are in the process or you have to incur in the process, we will cover them for you. Some of the essentials requirement to participate in this program that we created is you have to have it's either a associate or a bachelor's degree in nursing. Of course, you have to have at least 6 months of work experience in a hospital setting. The more acute the hospital it is, the better and the greater chances you're gonna have in order to qualify for our program. You need to have, and this is more for South Asia and other countries, the level of English. Obviously, Canada that doesn't apply, but other countries that want to apply here, you need to have a minimum of an English level of a B2 on a Cambridge scale. You need to communicate intermediate to advanced in order to pass through the interviews. You have to participate in an interview with our team. Our executive member will be interviewing you, and then eventually you have to interview with the hospitals. If you do not meet one of these requirements, you'll be automatically disqualified. But if you meet them all, then you can qualify and you can start your journey. So some of the steps in the basic aspects are: you go through a recruitment phase with A&P. Let's say that you decide to apply. You apply, we filter your resume, we interview you, and then if we think you're a good candidate for the hospital, we have a 90% match rate. So meaning, usually about 9 out of 10 of the ones that we present to the different hospitals, they do get hired. I think this month went down to like eight, but we have a really high. We interview about 250 people just to introduce a handful, maybe about 10 to 15 out of those 250, because the quality that the hospitals are looking for, it's high. So, but I would encourage you. You apply, we interview you. If you qualify through A&P, then we guide you through the hospital application. We train you for the interview that you're going to have with the hospital. Then you go to that interview with the hospital recruiters, and then if their recruiter likes you, depending on your profile, your resume, your work experience, then they're going to target you and they're going to say, hey, okay, we're going to introduce you to ICU. We're going to introduce you to the ER or med surg or whatever floor that is your strongest. And then the unit will interview you. And once you get that, then you get a job offer, you sign the contract, and then we start your process at our expenses. The units will vary. Sometimes they may send you to 1 or 2 units, and the whole process could take anywhere from 10 days to maybe 15 days top, from recruitment to be signing a contract. That's the two phases. So some of the benefits working with A&P in this program is that we're gonna guide you throughout the entire journey. A lot of agencies out there, a lot of hospitals directly, they're not specialized in the credentialing process. We are. That's how A&P started. We just started as a consulting firm for credentialing. So we are experts in how to do it the fastest. We have broken records. We have validated credentials as short as 5 days. And the longest that is taken, obviously, has been about 14 months. There are so many factors that could intervene in that process that it's important to have somebody next to you guiding you through that journey. So we're going to help you throughout the entire journey from day one. All the board of nursing fees, we're going to cover that. If there are documentations that need to be translated because they're not in English, we will be paying for that as well. When you need to study for your NCLEX and you need to register for the examination, we're going to pay for that first attempt. And obviously, we want to make sure that before we pay for that, you're ready to take it. So we're going to be following up with you and the percentages and see how the process goes. And then we're going to be paying for that. You're going to be registering, you pass your NCLEX, and then you become a nurse. Now, for certain countries that the education was not in English, you need to take an English examination, like, for example, the TOEFL test or the IELTS test. We are also going to pay for the studying material, for the preparation of the English, and then for the test as well. Now, sometimes if you don't live in a country like Canada or Mexico, or a test center that you can have close by, we're going to fly you to that country. For example, people from South America, they don't have a testing center over there, so we'll fly them to either Mexico or maybe Brazil, which is in South America. But other than Brazil, there is no testing center, so we will fly you to whatever, obviously, the closest location is, and we'll pay for that hotel where you're going to stay when traveling to take the NCLEX. And you're going to be taking your NCLEX. The only thing that we don't pay for is for food. We don't know how much you like to eat. Just kidding. It's a liability issue, but that's the only thing that we don't pay for. So it's the food, but we pay for your hotel. We pay for your ticket, whether it's ground or air. And then when you are ready to move to the United States, we also pay for that moving expenses, for the ticketing. And then we are also paying for the immigration process for you and up to 2 members of your family. And then when you are in the United States, wherever you're going to be living, we are going to be paying anywhere from 1 to 3 months of the rent after your arrival. Now, we have people from all over the world. We have people from Ghana, Ecuador, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, Argentina, United Kingdom, Canada, Spain, Nigeria, Philippines, Nepal, and we have so many much more, and so many much more coming. So we are expanding rapidly. And whatever you are in the world that is listening to this new program, I encourage you to find out more about who we are. I encourage you to participate in more activities and to ask questions, because it seems too good to be true, but it is true. So ask all the questions that you may have, and we'll be more than happy to answer them and see if this is the right fit for you. We believe that we have built that perfect bridge, and we can cross it together. all a matter of just taking that first step. So now we're going to go to the rounds of questions. And if you have any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat box and we'll be answering them for you. I will be answering them for you. What services do we offer? So we offer two different services. The service of the consultant fee is still there. That's more applicable to those that do not qualify for this scholarship. So we still have what we call our consultant firm is those nurses who, for example, they don't speak English yet, but they know they're working on it and they still want to get ahead on the paperwork because the paperwork can take a long time. Like I said, the fastest has been 5 days. The longest has been 14 months. So that could be time. And if you don't want to be waiting for, sure, you can hire us to help you and guide you through the process as your consultant. It is a process that you can do by yourself. You don't have to hire anybody to do that. You can go directly to CGFNS and start your process by yourself. However, it's a little bit difficult. It's always nice to have that mentor and that guidance of a company that can tell you, hey, don't do this, don't do that, because you're going to be making a mistake or it's going to delay your process. And the number one enemy that you have in this, it's frustration. If you get frustrated with the process, then you're not going to be able to complete it. And that could, potentially put in danger your dream of becoming a nurse in the United States. So that's one of the services. The second service is the placement fee model service that we have, which is the scholarship. Is if you qualify throughout the entire process, we pay for everything. And people wonder, oh, well, why did you pay for it? And it's like, because obviously the business model is now, it's a B2B business. So it's now our clients are the hospitals, not the nurses. And we're trying to help the nurses as much. So those are the two services that we currently offer. There are more coming. But as of today, those are the two services that A&P can offer you. If there are any other questions, please feel free to put them up and I'll be able to answer them. So the steps, we divide them into 4 major steps. Each steps obviously have more into it, but in general speaking, so the first step is the validation of the credentialing, and it's just getting validated here in the United States. It's proven that you're a nurse, whether you have an associate or a bachelor's degree in your country, that's equivalent to what the United States is looking for. So that's the first step. Then the second step, depending on the country that you're coming from, depending on the state that you're going to or doing the process through, it could be the English proficiency test, like the TOEFL or the IELTS. And then the third step, it's the NCLEX examination. So the NCLEX, the test for you to get licensed. And then the fourth step is the immigration process. So each step obviously has micro steps, but those are the 4 major steps. I hope that answered your question. Do I need a visa to apply? Absolutely not. In fact, you don't ever have to have a visa to come to the U.S. Because all the process is remotely. So, for example, if you live in Mexico or you live in Canada, and then let's say a different example, like you live in Asia, and you send all the paperwork, and then you get validated. Then what we do is we tell you where the testing center is nearby your country. So we would have to see, okay, what countries you need a visa for and what countries you don't. But there are so many countries that have testing centers that you can just fly to one of those, become a nurse because you take the test. Once you take the test and you pass it, then you're a nurse in the United States. And then you start engaging the immigration process. And by the time you finish the immigration process, you enter directly with the green card, which is a type of a visa that gets more complicated, but you get directly with the green card. You don't need a tourist visa or any sort of visa to be in the United States. You don't have to be present in the United States throughout the entire process or to get hired or to go through the immigration process, because you do everything through the embassies and the consulate in your country, if you have one. Inglés actualmente y me voy a explicar por el tema de los documentos. Sí se puede. Aunque this webinar is it's meant to be for English speakers, but Rosemary, sí se puede. Ponte en contacto con nuestro equipo y te daremos mucho más información en detalle. So what I'm telling her is, get in touch with, she's asking if I have an A2 in the Cambridge level of English. Currently, I want to apply because of, the documents and timing. Can I initiate and then start studying English as the process goes on? And that's what I was saying. Sure, that's a perfect example for our consulting firm piece of the service that A&P offers. You can start and then eventually you level up that English level, and you can always transition to the scholarship at any given time once your level of English is high. But yes, you can start not knowing the English level. But let me tell you this: a lot of candidates, we decline them because we're not just going to accept you because you say, "Oh, well, I want to do the process." But if you're not committed, if you're not going to learn the language, we literally are not going to take you because it's a waste of money that you're gonna incur. You're gonna spend all this money, and then eventually you're gonna say, "Well, I never accomplished it, and this company didn't do anything for me, and there's nothing we can do if you're not learning the language." So, Rosmary, si puedes, pero tenemos que hablar más en detalles con el equipo, okay? I'm just telling her to get in touch with our team, and then we'll go into details about her process. Any other questions? Scholarship and their requirements. As I mentioned, the requirements are associate degree or bachelor's degree in nursing, 6 months of experience in an acute care setting like a hospital. The bigger the hospital, the more critical the hospital, the better it is. And also to have a level of English that it's going to be equivalent to a B2 or higher, so intermediate advanced or advanced, anything higher. And the last one is go through the process with AMP and the hospitals, and then be vetted by us. And if we think that you are a good candidate, we'll introduce you to the hospitals. And if the hospitals think that you're a good candidate, they'll give you a job offer letter. And then once you sign that, then boom, we start the process. What would be the next question? Next. Sorry. Just read. My team told me, hey, when you read the question, you can hit next. And guys, let me know if there are, like 2 or 3 questions more to answer. You guide me through how many more we're going to answer. Avíseme cuántas preguntas más vamos a responder y si es la última o me dicen 2 más y así lo vemos, okay? 5 más, okay, so 5 more. We're going to answer 5 more questions and then I guess we'll be done. So I'm ready for the next one. Do I need to know English to start? Again, you don't. It is highly advised. I mean, we're recommended. I recommend it to know it, but you can always start the process. Again, you can do it by yourself, or you can hire a company to guide you through the process. You just have to make sure that that company that you're hiring, it's somebody that you feel comfortable with, that somebody that you feel is really going to help you, and it's going to be more beneficial to hire somebody to guide you through each step versus doing it by yourself. If it was that easy, obviously we wouldn't have been very successful at the consulting firm piece. We're still very successful at it. We're doing, probably about 30 to 50 nurses each month in that consulting firm only. But again, it's something you can do on your own. But if you feel like you want somebody to guide you, absolutely, we can help you. But we need to see that you're committed to learn the language, because if you're not committed, we most likely will not accept you as a candidate because you're going to be wasting your money. Next. Can I apply as a student or just as a graduate? Oh, that's a great question. Um, so we have developed this, scholarship program for a student. As a student, it was really hard for somebody, to help me out, and a lot of people helped me out. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. But I always found out that as a student, it was hard. I mean, just the universities want your money, and that's it. And everybody's just expecting you to graduate. And then you make money and then you pay. But we found out that, for example, in Latin America, those who are still learning the language, they want to get ahead, and as soon as they graduate, they want to start the process. So we developed this student scholarship, which is a major discount in our services. Is 50% off, that you can start at any given time. If you're year 1, year 2, year 3, or your 4th year, you can start it, and you get to pay even like a day before you graduate. Actually, before you finish your last class, we can still accept you and take you under the student consultant firm piece of it, and you get a 50% discount in that price. And if you speak English, we will just make a plan for you to work 6 months somewhere and then qualify for the scholarship. So yes, you can apply as a student for the consultant firm, and if you're in your last year, almost graduating, you could get in touch with the scholarship program and the sponsorship program, and we can make a plan for when you meet that 6 month requirement. Then we filter you directly to the hospitals. How do you start the process? So, depending on what you want to do, just visit our website, amphealthservices.com. And if you want to be in the consultant piece of it, go and get a consultation with one of our teams. And if you want to apply to the sponsorship program, just go to the scholarship tab, click on it, and then apply through it. And one of our team members will get in touch with you to interview you and see the resume and go through the entire recruitment process. Next. Rosemary González. Sí, es que quiero aplicar para la beca de egresados, pero pido un B2, actualmente no tengo B2, pero como dije anteriormente, el factor tiempo obviamente no me lo permite. Rosemary, ponte en contacto nuevamente con uno de nuestro equipo y analizamos un poquito más tu caso, okay? In this case, again, she was wondering, she really wants to apply. I'd love it. And the documentation, she's saying, the factors of timing and documentation, some countries is really hard to get documentation. It's, some countries are not as lucky as the US and Canada that, it's easier for us to just go and get the transcripts and the diploma. So we help those people a lot with how to get documentation and stuff. So, Rosemary, ponte en contacto con nuestro equipo y te van a dar una consulta gratuita, okay? Just so you guys know, for the consulting piece of it, the majority of the consultations are in Spanish, but we are doing some in English as well, and they're free. There's free of charge. We used to charge $100, $150 per consultation, but right now it's 100% free, and it'll continue that way. Next. Do I have to take exams? Yes, you have to take possibly 2 exams, English and the NCLEX, which is the it's the nursing test pretty much. So I guess this is the last question. I hope this helps, guys. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, AMP Health Services Inc. And we'll be more than happy to help you and answer your questions. The number one thing that I want you guys to take away is you need to get informed before you make a decision, before you sign a contract with any company, with any hospital, with any agency. Get informed, study them well, look at who they are, their background, what they've done, what their mission is, what they're doing currently in the market. It's not a secret that a lot of nurses come here, including me, and they end up working for an employer that it's a crappy one, and that that then you regret it, and then you're tied to a contract, and you're not a slave of anybody. Just keep that in mind. This you're the nurse. We need nurses here. You need the sponsorship. It's a win-win situation where you have to get some benefits, the hospital or the employer have to get some benefits, and it's a mutual beneficial relationship. But you need to study those companies that you're engaging with, and whatever you feel more comfortable with, whatever you feel that it's actually being more transparent and honest, and that it's helping you reach your goals and reach your dream, that's the one you're going to go for. So I hope you guys are seeking to accomplish this dream, and if we can help you, we'll be here. God bless.